Star Wars has been in a bit of a video game drought as of late, and even with recent video game announcements, it seems like that's not going to really change for a while. Honestly, it's kind of sad compared to what I and many others would consider the golden age of Star Wars games. The late 90s to the mid 2000s gave us what I would say are some of the best Star Wars games of all time. Knights of the Old Republic, the Rogue Squadron games, and Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. But out of all of these, I think there's one that stands out amongst the crowd. Which is it, you may ask? Maybe it's a Star Wars game that provides a brand new story and a brand new time period for us to explore, or one that tackles a whole new genre that we haven't played before. No. It's actually a movie tie-in. Look, I know, movie tie-ins generally suck. I mean, Star Wars is no stranger to bad movie tie-ins. Just look at The Phantom Menace.
Does that say bonus music video? Ah yes, behind the scenes. Just what I wanted in my music video. Honestly, when it came to episode 3, the prequels were 0 for 2 on video games, so they really needed this one to knock it out of the park. And even though it's got some issues, it's easily one of my favorite Star Wars games ever. The game was released on May 4th, 2005, a whole 2 weeks before the movie even released. Which is really odd, considering it has actual footage from the movie in it. 12 minutes of footage. We even get the tiniest glimpse of some deleted footage right here.
Just because there are 2 of you, do not assume you have the advantage.
And as one would expect from a movie tie-in, the game goes over the entire plot of the movie. This is worse than when the Phantom Menace soundtrack leaked, with one of the song titles being Qui-Gon's Noble End. But I guess since this movie was meant to sort of tie everything up and answer all the questions that we had left, we already knew where it was going. The game's cast also featured a lot of returning voices, not from the movies though, but from the animated Clone Wars micro series from 2003, mainly Matt Lucas as Anakin and James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan. And boy oh boy, do they sure give some performances.
Don't make me kill you.
I will do what I must.
You will try, my old friend.
The game even had stunt coordinator Nick Gillard on board to consult for the lightsaber combat. With all of this, you can see that they really put some care into this game. More care than almost any other movie tie-in I can think of, besides the Lord of the Rings games and Spider-Man 2. As soon as it starts, you see that at its core, Revenge of the Sith is a hack and slash game. But something about it's different. Part of it is the Force powers, all of which you can access right from the beginning. You have Force Push, Force Grab, Stun, Lightsaber Throw, Heal, and Force Speed. Not a bad arsenal to have. The other part of this that's different is how surprisingly deep the combat system is. You have light, heavy, and critical attacks as well as grapples. As you play, you'll find different ways to chain these attacks together, as well as being able to upgrade them as you go. Because yes, there are upgrades. Now's probably not a bad time to mention that in the game, you switch between playing as Anakin and Obi-Wan, each having their own upgrades to do. You'll do these after each level with the skill points you receive. You get these skill points based on how you defeat enemies and how many enemies you defeat. There's also a multiplier bar that you can fill up that goes from fair all the way up to masterful as you defeat enemies, which will of course give you more points to spend. You can spend these points upgrading everything you can do in the game, from force powers to every single type of attack. The only thing not upgradable are your health and your force meters. For that, you better open Google or go grab a guide, because we're going collectible hunting.
Do you ever get collector's anxiety?
Almost every one of the levels has secrets that you can collect. These secrets are permanent increases to your health or to your force, as well as saber crystals. No, these don't change the color of your lightsaber, like collecting a saber crystal would in any other Star Wars game, but it does fill up that multiplier bar I was talking about earlier. Alright, enough of the technical side, let's talk about these levels. The game starts with the beginning of the movie. Shocking, I know. The first level, you play as Anakin as you and Obi-Wan make your way through this hangar. Pretty simple, but it's also a pretty nice way for you to get used to the controls. The second level is actually based on a deleted scene from the movie. Here you play as Obi-Wan as you and Anakin make your way through the fuel lines of the ship. These levels show a pattern that this game suffers from, and really all movie tie-ins do. which is the taking a very small part of the movie and making it into something much bigger. The next level is actually the best example of this in the entire game. You remember that part of the movie where Anakin cuts a hole in the roof of the elevator and jumps out, and there's like a 2-minute bit there where the elevator goes the other way and he's stuck hanging from that little ledge, and then the elevator comes back up and he gets back in the elevator? That's an entire level here. An entire level. After this though, we get our first boss fight of the game against Count Dooku. These lightsaber duels are where the game really shines. I mentioned earlier how the combat is surprisingly deep, but it can be hard to see that when you're having to fight 6 enemies at the same time. But these one-on-one duels really help this game's design shine. In these duels, the game feels almost more like a fighting game than the hack and slash game you've been exposed to. Anyway, kill Dooku when you're on your way to the next level in this godforsaken ship. These hallways really are starting to blend together, but at least you get this shooting section. Does it seem out of place? Yes. Is it surprisingly fun and a nice way to break up the gameplay? Also yes. Too bad it ends in like 10 seconds as you're whisked away to the bridge. And here we are introduced to the worst enemies in the entire game. Grievous's bodyguards suck. They dodge everything. Also, sometimes they just refuse to die. You cut them in half and the top half of them just keeps coming at you still for some reason. Anyway, Grievous runs away like the coward he is, and that's the end of the level. And with that, we're done with the first section of the game. That was 6 levels, based off of the first 20 minutes of the movie. And believe me, I get it. It is hard to make a level based off of going to the opera with your evil father figure or walking down a hallway with your nice father figure. These are very difficult things to correlate to video game mechanics. I understand, but surely there were other sections of the movie that could have been made into levels. Maybe a nightmare sequence for Anakin or something. Hell, you probably could have broken up later levels into multiple sections. As a matter of fact, you could have, and we'll get to that. The next 2 levels show Obi-Wan on Utapau looking for General Grievous. These levels are actually really nice. We have a short run-in with a crab droid, and we have to outrun being shot by a gun. Like I said before, it's nice to have these different experiences to throw in, so you can get a break from that core gameplay loop. But speaking of needing a break from gameplay, I could not tell you why, but the Grievous boss fight is easily the most difficult boss fight in this entire game, which is really weird considering he is the second boss we fight in the game. He just doesn't stop blocking, at least not for the first 2 sections, and then after that, he gets the bright idea to start trying to shoot you with a gun. Then once he starts pulling out the gun, he loses all semblance of what the idea of blocking with lightsabers means, so it's a really easy time after that. Well, fresh off the heels of a boss fight, and I'm ready to relax and take some time to... Holy shit, another one?! Okay, so it's been a bit since we've seen Anakin. He's bad now? And I thought the pacing of the movie was bad. Actually, no. Hold on a second. I want to talk about this, because Anakin's whole motivation for turning to the dark side throughout this entire movie was Padme. It was all about Padme. We haven't seen Padme this entire game. And spoilers, we won't. She's not in the game at all. Not even in any of the scenes pulled straight from the movies. She is not present here at all. Well, at least if you played this before you saw the movie, you didn't get the incredibly big spoiler that Padme dies of sadness. Anyway, it's time to kill Mace Windu because video game Anakin just woke up on the wrong side of the bed or something. Also, just in this cutscene alone, Anakin is wiping the floor with Windu. Which is also kind of how this fight goes anyway. Mace Windu is not a difficult opponent at all. He can be a bit of a challenge sometimes, and he really does like to use Force Heal. But since Anakin's evil now, he can use Force Lightning instead of Force Stun. After we throw Samuel L. Jackson out the window, our good old pal the Senate tells us to go kill all of the Jedi. So we do. For a whole level.
The Council is no longer in control.
Now I know what you're thinking. When do we get to kill some younglings? And we don't. Like, there are all sorts of different types of Jedi to kill, but no younglings. I will say there is a very interesting point where you start shooting Jedi starfighters out of the sky, which was pretty neat. Honestly, I'm surprised they went as far as they did with this level, like, at all. I just kind of expected somebody higher up at LucasArts or hell, even Lucasfilm to go, hey, this level, maybe tone it down a little bit? But they didn't, and I really appreciate that. I think it just goes to show how hard they were trying to make this game as authentic to the movie as possible. After the raid on the Jedi Temple, we have another duel, this time against two opponents, Sin Dralig and his apprentice Sarah. Who are these people, you may ask? Well, shame on you for not recognizing Sin Dralig from his appearance in the movie. Why don't we go check up on Obi-Wan and see how he's doing? Ooh, he does not look like he's doing too hot. I'd just like to point out that they named this level Attack of the Clones. It's not like it's a clever name or anything, but I'm just really happy they went for it. I actually really like this level, and I feel like it's a good time to mention that at this point Obi-Wan gains access to Mind Trick. Just so you know, you can pretend the clones are still on your side for just a little while longer. This level really throws everything it can at you. It really makes you feel like the clones are actively hunting you and trying to kill you. ATRTs, Blaze Troopers, oh, and you know, an entire gunship. Plus you escape on the top of a fucking turbo tank. I wish we got more of this, but instead, 6 levels on Grievous's ship. Back to Anakin as he makes his way to what is somehow the best and worst level of this entire game. I love this level, I really do, but it is so difficult. Anakin walks up and instead of walking casually into the facility to take out the leaders of the Separatists, he just announces he's here to kill everyone, making this the dumbest point in the entire game. This level also introduces enemies that can stun you, and if they get you in a corner just right, or they surround you, they will keep you there until you die. The actual design of the level, both from an aesthetic point of view and a level design point of view, is actually really nice. Anakin has to jump back and forth between these platforms to make his way to the Separatist leaders. And eventually, when you do make it to them, what happens? Do you get a cutscene showing Anakin killing them all, maybe an actual scene from the movie of that happening? No. You do it. You have to kill them, as they all run around defenseless.
They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals.
Now, one of them does make it out, and that's our good old friend Newt Gunray. He gets into a shuttle, and of course, the obvious reaction is to start throwing explosive barrels at it until it explodes. Except, you aren't given enough barrels, so you just start throwing your lightsaber at it until it explodes. Why doesn't he just fly away? Because that would be smart. And as we all know, we're dealing with Newt Gunray here.
She can't do that. Shoot her or something.
This fight, by the way, sucks. It's just awful. The ship's laser, is undodgeable, as well as the weird things it shoots out at you. Plus, the guards keep showing back up to stun you, and it's just not fun. Plus, you only get 1 health pickup, and you don't have enough time to stop and heal because you're constantly being shot at or stunned, so you're probably gonna die if you use the health pack at the wrong time. Back with Obi-Wan, he and Yoda are going to shut off that signal at the temple, telling everybody to come back and die. By this point, you know the drill with how this game works. Kill things, go to the next room, repeat. Yoda is a nice addition, as he does funny little flips to keep you entertained as you go along. But really, this is either the worst level in the entire game, or the monotony just really starts to set in here. You do get to destroy 2 gunships this time. With a gun! The gun sections are starting to overstay their welcome, though. At least this one takes place right before the final section of the level, rather than being the ending of the level. There, we come face to face with the worst threat this game has to offer. You remember when I said that Grievous's bodyguards were the worst enemies in this game? I lied. These are clone assassins, and they do not let you hit them. ever. What clone can do this shit? Are they all like Neo from the Matrix or something? Like, what is this? How are they out-reflexing a Jedi? Call up the Bad Batch because I found clones more powerful than they will ever be. Like, seriously, all I did here was just button mash until they all died. Anyway, after all of that, you better make sure all your upgrades are in order because it's time for the final boss. I'm not gonna lie, I just really like this fight. The visuals here are top-notch and the dialogue here actually adds more depth than the movie gives us during this fight. It's also actually a nice challenge. It's not unfair like Grievous was earlier. Get through this fight and you're rewarded with one of the most iconic scenes in history.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
But that's not all you're rewarded with. What's this? An extra level? That's right, time to do the same thing you just did, but the other way around. You're fighting Obi-Wan as Anakin, and when you win, you are left with an amazing alternate ending that blew 4-year-old me's mind.
Your new weapon, Darth Vader.
No, the galaxy belongs to me.
Even though the game has some disappointing levels here and there, the entire experience is actually pretty solid and really fun. The only real issue is its length. You can get through all 17 of the levels in a pretty short amount of time. What happens if you want more?
Bonus levels. These days, these would have been like a pre-order bonus or something, but here they're unlocked as you play through the story. In the first one, you play as General Grievous's bodyguards. That sounds sick, right? Well, guess what? It's not. This is what it looked like when I tried to play it. The second one lets you play as Grievous fighting against some clone troopers. Let's be honest, this is a massacre, which is why at the very end, Obi-Wan shows up to give you an actual challenge. It's a pretty nice fight and feels pretty rewarding. The third level is parkour. Don't fall into the lava. Don't let the stunning guys stun you into the lava. This level sucks. Now the fourth level is probably my favorite, if not my second favorite, because we get to play as Yoda, which is really fun. All of his special moves are fun. All of his attacks make him jump around. Even his jump is an attack, which is just great. But not even Yoda, Grand Master of the Jedi Order, can handle these stupid But the final bonus mission is easily the coolest, unlocked after you do the alternate ending. It's the fight on the Death Star against old Ben Kenobi, which is just a really fun way to tie this game into A New Hope, even if Darth Vader has Force lightning for some reason. You even get scenes from the movie just like you got during the main story for Revenge of the Sith. Honestly, it all just culminates in this nice love letter to Star Wars.
Of course, this isn't the final thing you'll do in the game. If you have friends, and if you're not like me, with my large group of friends, the game does have AI if you need it.
That's right, it's time for co-op. I'm not gonna go into these in detail because they are honestly pretty boring. It's not like no effort went into them or anything. These are all new environments created just for these levels, but honestly, the gameplay, especially after playing through this entire game and the bonus missions, it's all starting to feel like the same thing. But that's not the multiplayer everyone remembers from this game. No, no, no. The Versus mode is where this game really shines. This game feels like the most polished Star Wars fighting game we've ever gotten. So it's not like the bar for that was set particularly high. We've got every stage from the duels that we did during the story mode, including a nice little bonus Death Star stage as well. And when it comes to characters, everybody from the story mode that you fought as or against is available. Even Darth Vader and Obi-Wan from the bonus level. The only character missing here is Yoda? I guess there must have been something wrong with either balancing or something, but for some reason you can't play as him in the Versus mode. Each character has special moves that you can learn, which I remember having so much fun doing as a kid. It's very easy to do as well because they got a nice little chart for you right in the menu. Every character has a special touch to them. The devs really made sure of that. Like Vader's grapple, for example, is a force choke. It's the little touches like this that make me really love this mode. Plus, if you and a friend wanted to play as the same character, don't worry, they thought of that too. Every character has an alternate skin for mirror matches. Some of them are sick, like Anakin's, and others are Darth Vader. Damn, I gotta get this alternate skin done for Vader. Come on, think. And that should do it. But seriously, this was amazing to me as a kid. I loved every second of this mode, and I know I put hours and hours into it. I wish they could just lift the versus mode out of this game and build an entire new game around it. They could go really in-depth with it too, adding a whole bunch of new arenas and characters from other eras of Star Wars. I think it would just be really cool, and I know a lot of Star Wars fans would really enjoy that, including me. Revenge of the Sith may be a movie tie-in, but in every part of it, you can feel the love and care that was put into it. 2005 was really the last year that Star Wars games were great all across the board. Republic Commando, LEGO Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic 2, Battlefront 2, these were all great games, and after 2005, game development started to slow down for Star Wars. We wouldn't even see The Force Unleashed for another 3 years, and after that, things started to dry up. It's not hard to understand how that happened. At the time, LucasArts wasn't being ran in the best way, and game development was starting to get more and more expensive and take more and more time. I guess what I'm trying to say is that now that EA doesn't hold the exclusive rights to Star Wars games, that maybe we're due for a Star Wars gaming renaissance. God damn it!